This happened back in 2016, but it still gives me the creeps. Let me set the scene. It's a Friday night in Edinburgh, and I'm skipping down the road looking forward to the highlight of my week, sticking on replays of King of the Hill and ordering a fish and chips. I put a tenner on the heating. I have no idea what a tenner is, but I put a tenner on the heating, found a solid Koth playlist on YouTube, and order my food. All stations are a go for another spectacular Friday night. Now, it's worth mentioning that this was December in Edinburgh, so there was a lot of snow, and I expected the food to take a little longer than usual. However, hours passed and it never arrived. No worries, I'll just cancel the order and make some pasta or something. I get a knock on the door at 1:30 a.m., which was a little weird as I didn't buzz anybody into the building. I look through the peephole and there is the delivery driver. I open the door. Why would you open the door? Listen, people, never open your door at 1:30 a.m. for anybody. I opened the door and he began to profusely apologize for the delay in the food order. He explained he had felt bad and wanted to check if I wanted the food anyway. I told him I understood and it wasn't a problem, and I took the food. I thought that was the end of what seemed like the happy matter, but it was not. At around 2 a.m., I get a text message saying, "I really liked your sweatshirt." I respond saying thanks, but who is this? He replies, "It's your delivery driver." At this point, I'm pretty annoyed at the nerve of this man, but also spooked that it was clear I lived alone and this man had sauntered straight into my building. I can't remember everything that was said, but it's more or less along the lines of, "So how's your night?" and various other fairly inoffensive messaging to which I did not respond. The scary part is waking up at 3 a.m. to a series of missed calls with a message in the middle saying, "I'm outside your building, do you want to hang out?" I'm seriously shitting bricks at this point, so I don't manage to get back to sleep until around 7 in the morning. Thankfully, I never heard from him again. I've since changed my sacred ritual in my country of residence, but all the same, delivery driver, let's never meet again. Can't be too careful, folks. There are a lot of creeps out there. I really hope she reported him to his job, and more importantly, didn't eat that food. Quick backstory. I work at a gas station on a main route. We see a lot of travelers passing through. Only one person works each shift, and it's a 24-hour store. We are short-staffed, so I agreed to an overnight. I'm female. I work in a state that's always had self-serve gas stations. So this guy comes in. I asked him if he needed any help. He says no, he's getting gas at the pump but needs to use the bathroom. I go back to work on whatever invoices we got yesterday. The guy uses the bathroom and then goes back outside. About 5 to 7 minutes later, he comes back inside and tells me that he's confused about the pump. He directly says, "You might have to come outside to help me." Customers don't often say this. They usually just complain that it's not working, so I'm already feeling weird about this guy. I shake it off because he looks like a nerd and I don't feel afraid of him really. I look at the register to see what error it came up with for his pump, and there's no errors. The register doesn't even say it was in use. Even if someone tries to pay and nothing's wrong with their payment, it would at least say payment loyalty timed out. But literally it had no sign of him trying to use it before asking me for help. I asked him if he wants to just pay inside. He agrees, gets his wallet out of his car and then pays $10. I give him his receipt and he says, "Can you help me? I don't understand the machine." We aren't really allowed to leave the store during overnight shifts, as it's just me here and it's not safe to go outside. I don't know why I told him I was alone, but he wasn't seemingly threatening. He proceeded to say, "I don't understand what it's asking me. I need help. I'm not scary." I tell him again that I can't go outside because it's a store policy for the overnight shift and say, "It's not that you're scary, I just can't go outside." I would have to tell a little old lady asking for help at this hour the same thing. Which is true. We can't even take out the trash during overnights. He starts to walk away from the register counter now, but then again stops at the door and asks me one last time to come outside and help him. I'm pretty annoyed at this point. I've said no twice now. I'm not going, so stop asking. I finally say in a super annoyed tone, okay, all you need to do is pick up the nozzle, select fuel grade button, and put it into your tank and squeeze the handle. I'm not going outside. Then he finally goes back to the car, and the register tells me he had no trouble pumping gas. Also, his plates seem like they're from the state I work in. This kind of thing wouldn't make me suspicious usually, but the fact that he originally opted me to go outside instead of bringing money inside at 3 a.m. is weird. Along with how he didn't bother to use the pump before he came inside to ask for help, claiming it wasn't working and him not taking my first no for an answer. No means no. So potential gas station abductor, let's not meet again. Like I always say, creeps are everywhere. Just because they look harmless doesn't mean they are. I argue that most dangerous people who intend to do you harm won't announce that fact via their appearance. They will come as a wolf in sheep's clothing. Listen to your gut. Be safe. Always. About a year ago, I was walking into town from my house to do a little shopping. A guy stopped me. At first, I thought he was just lost and needed directions, but he said, "I'm sorry for stopping you. I just thought you were so pretty. I have to give you my number." I thanked him awkwardly, because it's not every day some stranger just comes up to you and says that, but told him I had a boyfriend and refused to take his number. He seemed to take it well, and I went on my way without seeing or hearing from him again that day. A couple of days later, I was heading into town again. There was the same guy, in almost the same spot. Again, he attempted to stop me and give me his number, but I had a dentist appointment that I was going to be late for if I stopped. So he tried to walk next to me all the way to my dentist. I took a detour through a clothes shop with 2 exits and lost him in the racks of clothes. About a week or so later, I'm pushing my daughter in her buggy into town to meet my mother for lunch. The same guy is waiting for me again. I saw him, he saw me see him, and I turned and walked back the way I'd come. He started to follow me. I didn't head to my house because I didn't want him to know where I lived. I called my mother, told her I was going to be a little late because some creep was following me, and turned onto a residential street. There was an older man, maybe in his 70s, out mowing his lawn. I had turned onto the street ahead of the creep and hurried over to this guy. I quickly explained that some strange man was following me and I didn't feel safe, particularly since I had my daughter with me. He let me into his house and we stood just behind the door, out of sight. The creepy guy went past, and once he was gone, the old guy let me know and I hurried off into town as quickly as I could. On my way home, my mom gave me a lift home in her car. We stopped by the old man's house and gave him some apple pie and flowers and said thank you for being so kind. I haven't seen that creep since, but all the same, let's not meet. Creeps are everywhere, people. Creeps are everywhere. I know she was desperate, but I don't think it was a good idea for her to go into that old man's house. It's just my opinion. He could have been just as crazy. I'm just glad that everything turned out for the best, and I truly hope she took the matter to the cops. Okay, so I'm 14 and I'm often mistaken for 18 because of my shape. A little context. I was at the YMCA with my sisters. We were swimming for a while and then I started to feel sick. My younger sister said, "You don't look good. Maybe you should sit in the changing room for a while." Me, "Yeah, I think I will." I went in the changing room for some peace and quiet, and lucky me, no one was in there. I sat on one of the benches and closed my eyes. A few moments later, I hear someone come in. It was a guy, tall, muscular, and genuinely good looking. I brushed it off thinking he was probably waiting for his girlfriend and came in to check on her because she was taking too long or something. That is until he approached me and sat next to me. So close our thighs were touching. I was really surprised. I scooted over and gave him that, "What do you think you're doing?" look. He smiled at me and said, "Don't worry, girl, I'm not going to hurt you," and proceeded to put his hand on my back. I stood up, backed away. I was scared to run because he seemed athletic, so he probably could have caught me. He asked, "How old are you, baby?" in a sickeningly sweet tone. I say 14, and he nonchalantly says, "Cool." So I asked how old he was. 23. He then stood up and started walking over to me, and I backed away from him. This is the turning point. I hear a bathroom stall open, and there, standing in all her glory, was the lady who I'll call my hero. She stepped out, and I know she heard everything. That dude hightailed it out of there. The lady was nice and stayed with me for a while. Her name was Stacy. Thank you, Stacy. I'm glad nothing happened to that girl. Only wish that Stacy had arrived on the scene with something heavy and straight up gave him a gravity-assisted blow to the back of his head. Repeatedly. Repeatedly. No one would have blamed her for it, and he would have deserved it. He definitely would have deserved that. Stay safe out there. Always. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more or simply like to support my channel, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out. Until next time.